Okay, I'm streaming again, and I'm here working on the artwork for the skateboard deck. I have a timer up in the corner. It's just to let you know that these things are not going to go on and on. So it's about 20 minutes, and then I'll stop the live stream. So yesterday I worked on not strawberry shortcake. Also the big wheels. And so again, everything's a knockoff. So this isn't a boglin, it's a goblin. And then working on Lion-O there. Also drew the AT-AT. And then each one of these things I'm deleting the thumbnail here off to the side so I feel some progress. So I figured that one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is basically why I'm drawing these rough. This is a rough blue line. So here I'm going to draw this Pee Wee Herman doll, and I'm just going to share with you a little bit about why I draw things the way that I do. So what you have to learn to do is when you're sketching or drawing is you have to be able to draw through things. So it's not me doing this, okay? I'm not like drawing his face, okay, and then his eyes. Yeah, I'll zoom in there. And then his nose. You're not doing that. The point of a rough blue line is to learn to build structure. So here, let me get rid of this. Okay. So for example, I'm going to actually draw through him. So I'm drawing the shape of the head, his face, and then I'm drawing where things are going to go. So here, like the eye line. It is, a lot of you guys probably already know this, but this is just for people that might not. So I'm able to then think of structure more when I'm drawing it loose like this. So for his body, he's kind of flying through the air. And then I'm gesturing in where things are going to go. Reason why is because I need to be able to build things. So this is a shape for his arm. Here's his other arm. I'm just getting the hands in there. Got kind of these wacky wrists. So I'm not committing. I'm not thinking about cleaning things up. I'm not trying to make the lines all perfect. I'm just trying to get the basic shapes in there and understand myself that this is going to get cleaned up later. So that's why I draw things the way that I do with these rough blue lines. Because if you try to think of every line as this is it, this is the I'm illustrating it, you're never going to progress because you'll just keep undoing, and so you have to work in these stages. As I shared in that community tab, this is stage 2 or step 2, which is the rough blue line stage. And then when you clean it up, some more of that personality, he's got high waters, so that personality will come through. This is just structure building right now. He's got like a talking. We'll do something like this. I'm going to be, once everything is roughed out, I will then adjust everything in the layout. Like I'll space everything out. See, like right now he's breaking, you know, he's going past the deck line here, the print line. So again, just getting the basic characters in there with the rough blue line. That's good for now, and then I'm going to delete the little thumbnail, and then I move on to the next character. See, so already I can see there's a little strawberry shortbread, her sister, and then the Pee-wee doll. You know, I can move them over a little bit. One of the great things about Procreate is that you can manipulate the whole group. See, so this is his the line work and the color that was beneath him. So this is one of the great things. I used to use Corel Painter, and you had to adjust each layer, which is really annoying. It's the same way in Photoshop, as far as I know. They still haven't made it that you can adjust a whole group of things at the same time. You can't warp everything. I think you can adjust them in Photoshop, but you can't warp it in Photoshop. And that's where Procreate is just really ahead of the game. Okay, so then, you know, I'm gonna pick just the next object. I'm just going around. So here, let's work on, I got a Skeletor down here. So I have my reference deck. So I compiled all these images of the characters. There we go. Okay, so same thing. So when I first started storyboarding, I learned this whole process of drawing through things I was actually using tracing paper with Blueline pencils, Prismacolor pencils, and then you would lay tracing paper on top of that and do all your cleanup work. So same thing here. It's same principle, you're just translating it digitally. So again, you're not holding yourself to every line right now. You're just getting structure. See, so I'm not drawing the antler. You're thinking of shapes. So, you know, like here's the skull. Here's kind of where the antlers would go, or the ram horns. And now, once you have that shape in there, you'll have a better guide of where that would be. And then I'm kind of making everything a little cartoonish and fun and kooky, a little kooky. It's not, you know, a one-to-one. I'm not going for realism, obviously. I want it to have that comic book, cartoonish feel, like the original skateboard art. I'm drawing beyond this because then I might move them around a little bit or nudge them here and there. And so I'm giving myself a little bit of wiggle room, and then I'll mask that out in the proper layout. You know, and when you're drawing these rough blue lines, you don't need to undo quite as much, again, because you're just getting the form in there. So that's pretty good. Busting out. Skeletor. Okay. So you see how this is another thing too, the tangents. I worked for an art director that actually pointed this out to me about the tangents. Okay, so that's the way he was. I'll explain this. So right here, you know, it's overlapping, and that creates it's just harder to see the character. So if I just rotate him, oops, if I just rotate him a little bit, see, now that he fits better in there, and you can see the staff easier. So those are tangents. This piece of art is going to be filled with them. So you're going to see me. So I remember that art director pointing out and saying, "Hey, you got to, you know, watch your tangents," and that stuck with me. To be careful not to overlap things too much that it becomes confusing, because at the end of the day, you know, with something like this, it's just going to get more, and it's going to get harder and harder to see things. So you want to avoid all those little overlaps in a way that makes things harder to see. Okay, so Skeletor done. Okay, and then I will work on, I'll just get that keyboard in there. Deck. There's that, one of these awful keyboards. Okay, you can see it right here. Okay, and again, this is where you need to be able to draw through things, especially if it's something that's technical like this. Even though it's a small thing, it's, you know, you're still having to create a more of a technical drawing. In your perspective, you're thinking a little bit of perspective there. Also, you don't want to be keeping it cartoonish, so instead of me drawing, you know, every key like this, where it's just too much information, you're just making the keys a little fatter, and it keeps it more cartoonish. And again, we're not in the cleanup phase right now. That's when I'll be able to add more clarity. See, like this, these buttons here, you know, I need a line there to be able to keep the buttons in order. So again, it's thinking with the rough blue line phase, more of structure. And then also, if you wanted to have something overlapping, you can just create a new layer. Okay, and now I can warp that. And then I can duplicate it. See? And we create a little strap. You know, and I'm thinking, again, perspective, there's a lot of that here. You know, the strap on this side is going to be thinner than over here because it's further away in perspective. It's just little things like that that give the drawing more depth, even on a 80's keyboard. Then I can erase, you know, where it was overlapping. And I'll just make this a different color, different blue, so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. Okay. We're getting close to the end of the session here. These are only little 20-minute things. So yeah, got Pee Wee Herman in there, got Skeletor, Pee Wee Herman, Skeletor, and the keyboard in that little session. So I'm just going to keep going one at a time. At first, this project seemed really overwhelming. I'm going, man, I don't know about this one. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. But now that I'm getting into it, I'm having a good time with it. And yeah, so it's coming together already. So hope you guys enjoyed watching that. And thanks for following along.